Well, looks like we're back. What's up, folks? It's Steve Holmes. March 26, 2023, we're back. We're back here in the drum room, in the lab, where we get it out. We get it out of our system. We do some drumming. It's very cathartic. After a long week of real life, this is where we find the peace. This is where we find the joy. But sometimes it's a struggle. Sometimes it's a journey. Sometimes it just doesn't happen, right? But that's part of it. That's part of it. You got to embrace the whole thing. Okay, so we're here. We're blasting live right now. YouTube, Facebook, a couple different places. We're having fun. So this is what we do. We drum. We talk about drums. We try to successfully play what we want to play, which is difficult because sometimes the ideas don't come, and sometimes the ideas come, but your body is like, or maybe you're low on energy or whatever. But we're here, and it's about trying. It's about doing it, right? It's about cutting, not just sharpening knives. All right, I heard that one recently from a friend of mine, actually. Big surprise, he's a writer. Yeah, so we're here. We're having fun. Talking with people, drumming. Post those comments. Riz Man on YouTube says, hi, Steve. Riz, congratulations on the first comment. Hello, Riz. How are you? You know, I was going to do... I hate this. I was going to do a play-along track today, and I recorded myself. I recorded a video of me playing along with the track and listened back a couple of times, and I just can't find the sweet spot of the mix with the drums and the play-along track and things getting lost a little bit sonically. So I'm still trying to find my bearings a little bit with it. And it's a really cool track. It's this song from an amazing violin player who's a friend of mine. His name is Dorian Chia, and he's all over the place. He's on YouTube, he's on Instagram, and he posts content all the time, like every day. And I used to play with him a lot, actually, and he's a great songwriter, and he sent me a track without drums, this track that I always had fun playing to, and I was going to do it today. But I want to wait until I can get a better mix playing along with the track, you know? We'll see. So today I'm afraid it's just going to be more boring. Just me playing drums by myself. Maybe we'll turn on the click or something. But I'm still trying to tweak the setup with playing along with the track. I'm just too chicken. So yeah, let's see. Remy on YouTube says hello. What's up, Remy? So yeah, I'm going to play a little bit. And I thought what we would do later is I've got a bunch of splash cymbals here. I thought we would maybe experiment with stacking a couple over here on the X-Hat and put the cool shells on them. Right? We've got the cool, percussion shaky shells. Let's call them shaky shells. And I thought, because I've tried before to come up with a good combination of stacks with this stuff, and I ended up just doing like a regular X-Hat. But now that I found my shaky shells, I think maybe we can revisit. Let's stack a couple of these cool cymbals and we'll put the shaky shells on top and maybe we'll get a cool sound. Because as much as I love the X-Hat, the best thing about the X-Hat is that it cuts. It's nice and loud, and it just cuts, right? It's heard no matter what, and I like that. So maybe we'll get that here. We've got an 8-inch splash, a custom. I've got a 10-inch trash former that's cracked, so that'll be fun for stacking. I've got another splash A custom here. This is a 10, right? So we've got an 8 and a 10 A custom. Oh, we've got this Oriental 12-inch with little cracks on the bell. This thing's great. So this will probably be one of the things we stack. Maybe this and the trash former. I think that'll be the first one we try. Then we got a brilliant, just a regular A Zildjian Splash, 12-inch. And then we've got a hi-hat bottom, 13-inch hi-hat bottom. So yeah, think about which ones we should stack, and after I'm done playing, maybe we'll have some fun mixing and matching, and we'll see what sounds good with the shaky shells. All right, let's see. John on YouTube says, just got the moderate jazz time on cymbal with a double time 16th underneath that I saw in your previous video. Thanks, man. Opens up a new door for my playing. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's great. That jazz, that video I did on jazz tips gets a lot of traction, a lot of play. A lot of people like that video, so that's good. We're all about helping people, so I'm glad that it's helping. So let's do some playing. Kurt says add some rivets. Yeah, I can't do that here, but it's a good idea. This has rivets. So all right, we're gonna turn on the cam switcher, right? Because we're fancy like that. We've got kind of a new. I try to change the camera angles on every few streams for the B cam, right? This is the B cam behind me. It should change actually after 20 seconds. So let's see. I'll move this guy back. Is this a good angle? Oh, there we go. There's the B cam. Hello, B cam. All right, let's play some drums. Leave a comment on how it sounds. Let me know if there's any issues. Post questions, post comments, and we'll get to them when I'm done playing. Okay? For now, we're just going to play a little bit. See what happens. Here we go. Yeah. Like I said, it's a journey. Ooh, it's a thing. It's a something. It's a something. Rubbing sticks together, right? Rubbing sticks together. See what happens. And it's interesting, along the way, I'm like, well, this is crap. This is crap. And other times I'm like, all right, this might work. Just stay here. At the end, I'm like, just play quiet for a change. I never play quiet on here. I never like really bring it down. I don't even know if it sounded okay. Yeah, just playing a little bit today. I had a little thing with my hand, actually. I think maybe the angle of my snare changed or something because I'm really feeling it. Like I need to not bury the stick so much with my left hand, folks. Just a lot of absorbing all that shock. It's no good. I gotta get the rebound happening. It's bad habits. Bad habits. Cheers. What's up? This is Steve Holmes. We're streaming live from the Los Angeles area. I want to thank my friend Jeff Nagus who helped me out with the lights and improving the picture with these cameras here, getting a little bit of the gamma and the contrast adjusted here. So thanks to my good friend Jeff. Wish you were here, buddy, so you could be bored watching me drum. So yeah, let's see what folks are saying on the internet. All right, we got a lot of all YouTube. It's all about the YouTubes, man. Love the YouTubes. Pardon me one second. Ooh. All right. Let's read comments. Let's see what folks are saying. It's a big world out there. And all you got to do is type something, and next thing you know, some guy in LA is reading it like it's bananas. It's bananas, I tell you. All right, let's see. Joey says fire. Thank you, Joey. Sounds great, very clear, nice playing. Thank you for the positive reinforcement. Normalized audio. I recognize that name. Normalized audio has been on a lot of the streams, man. Thank you for hanging out again, Normalized Audio. West Coast players don't seem to use rivets. You notice that? I have rivets in my Azuka. I have another old ride. I think it has, actually it doesn't have rivets in it. But man, yeah, I love the rivets in this thing. And I mean, you know what I did? I had that little, like the little chain of, it's a little chain that you fasten to the bell, and it goes down the cymbal, and it acts as rivets. It has the same effect. I had one of those for a long time, actually, on this guy. And I think maybe I use it on that concert video we did with my with that trio, Altered. Is that on there? Anyway, yeah, I had that on there for a long time. I like the rivet stuff. I think it's cool, Let's see. Alan says, really relaxed feel. Thank you. All the New York City drummers seem to have rivets. Yeah, man, I'm kind of interested in that. That the difference in drumming cultures and approaches and philosophies and all that, like the East Coast versus West Coast. Like the music that, and I'm not even saying that I'm a good snapshot of what the West Coast drumming is. I mean, the guys that I see that are actually out there gigging, I'm not like them. I mean, everyone's different, obviously, but like if you were to compare, like say Gene Coy, who I really like, I'm a big fan of. Gene gigs all over the West Coast with all kinds of folks, all kinds of great jazz bands. If you were to compare him to, whatever, insert East Coast, big name drummer here, Mark Juliana or Ari Honig or something, like, it's just, I love those differences, but overall, like, the East Coast sound, it's just smaller, volume wise, a lot of those guys seem to kind of like small clubs, small drum kit, small, I don't want to say a small sound because that has a negative connotation, and I certainly don't mean that. But yeah, that's definitely a difference. It's just the overall kind of thing seems to be louder, I guess. I don't know. It depends on the venue, obviously, but just overall, just generally speaking. But I love drummers on both coasts, man, and it's certainly not a better than this or worse than that thing. I just like neck bearing and strengths and weaknesses and contrasts and, ooh, notice that, it's kind of more like that over here and versus this. And it's just interesting to compare, but I don't like to get into, oh, these guys are better than those guys, because that's just stupid. Let's see. All the New York City, let's see. Love Daniel Falter on YouTube says, love your playing. What's your main ride? All the cymbals and drums are in the description. It's a 20-inch K Custom Dry Light. Best ride ever. This is my baby. I love this ride. Yeah, some more positive comments here. Thank you very much. Normalized audio. Let's see. Alan on YouTube says, hey, Steve, I was wondering about your process for getting out of a creative rut. Do you take breaks from playing when you feel stuck so you can come back with fresh eyes and ears? Thanks. Yes, taking breaks is a big part of getting out of a rut. I mean, I did a big rant on being in a rut recently on one of the streams within the last month or so. And all the old streams are on my channel on YouTube and a bunch of other instructional videos that I've made over the years. Anyone that is not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go to the channel. And if you like what you see, click that subscribe button. We're trying to get the subscriber count up. It's climbing a little faster than it normally is because of all these streams, and that's helping. And so I want to keep that going. So if you like this kind of content, there's plenty on there. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you go to the, Steve Holmes Drum Lessons playlist, all the streams are on there, almost all of them. And in the description, there's like itemized clickable chapters of every topic that we talk about. And one of them is definitely about getting out of a rut. And I do a big rant on there and talk about various suggestions for getting out of a rut. But taking breaks is definitely a big part of it. Just kind of getting away from it and coming back, getting away from music, like in general, like watch movies or whatever your other thing is. And if you don't have an other thing, then just don't do the music, I mean, if time is allowing you to do that, if you have the time, I mean, if there's no deadlines or something, I mean, yeah, take a break and just stimulate your brain, in other ways. And if it's like a music thing, if you're struggling with coming up with drum parts to existing tracks or something, then just, spend some time like away from the kit, just listening to the music. I think helps, like in the car or like whatever you're doing, you're walking, you're running, you're going about your life, like just having that music on, and the part of your brain that's in charge of like coming up with drum parts or that comes up with drum parts, hopefully that'll just kind of like do its thing without you actually being here. I find that's the case for me. That track I was talking about at the beginning of the stream that I want to play along with. I played it with this violin player years ago, and I was gonna play it on the stream, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna play it the way I played it before. But when I was listening to it, I wanted to do like this different stuff. And so I got to work out what that stuff is before I can play it. But I mean, it's kind of like an Eastern themed song, and there's a couple violin solos, and one of them, instead of just a traditional groove, I wanted to try to keep that 16th note thing going to kind of simulate like the tabla kind of thing, that kind of constant 16th motion. And so I was experimenting with just playing 16ths on the snare, or like a clackety thing, like hitting the side of the snare rim versus the side stick itself. Messing around with that. Some guys are really good at that. Like just mixing and matching and combining, that kind of thing. And I want to spend some time, like kind of finding a cool groove and getting used to those sounds and coming up with a groove using those sounds. And sometimes, getting back to the question about being in a red, sometimes it's helpful to just be away from the kit. And then like when you come back, things will be better because you're starting from a different place, basically. So that's a short little thing about getting in a rut. Let's see. Cheers. My name's Steve Holmes. Thanks for hanging out, folks. Let's see. Bobby Vincent. Welcome back, Bobby. Bobby's constantly on the streams. Says he was watching Rick Beato and now me. Yeah, Rick, man, he really has he really did the thing. I'm so intrigued by that process. Those of you who don't know who Rick Beato is, he's turned into a very, very successful YouTube personality, and he's a music expert, former, maybe current music producer, and he knows his stuff. And so as a result, he's interviewing these big name musicians, and now like all these musicians want to be on his channel, and so he's interviewed everyone from Keith Jarrett to Ron Carter to Pat Metheny, all these folks. That Sting, he did recently, Steve Gadd recently. And so he's just kind of blown up. And so I'm kind of intrigued at that whole process. Greg Bissonette was on there recently. Al Di Meola, Frank Gambale, Larry Coryell. A lot of folks. Rick's really doing it. I enjoy Rick's stuff too. I really enjoyed his interview with Steve Lukather and Keith Jarrett. And for drummers out there, man, it is like getting familiar with drummers and drumming is just like that's just the given. It's the real stuff is just getting into the music and the music makers that are not drummers, like understanding why, Keith Jarrett is who he is, and Pat Metheny and these kind of guys, take your pick. There's just so many out there, Kurt Rosenwinkel is another guy that I'm just intrigued with and think that he's just really amazing, digging into that stuff and just getting in it. Just getting in it is like, and feeling like you get it and like you're not a part of it, but like you get it and you're successfully riding that wave instead of watching the wave from afar or even from close, but just like, man, just kind of getting it and that kind of thing. And a lot of that comes from playing music, oneself playing music with other people and understanding the process and sympathizing with the process and realizing what the process is and what it means to have a musician with you play a thing and be like, okay, now you come up with a part that goes with that. Like that is such a thing. It's such a thing, especially in the context of jazz, because there's a lot of freedom of like, well, what do you want to play? As opposed to like, a rock thing or a funk thing or a backbeat thing where it's like, well, we're going to have a backbeat no matter what, and there's nothing wrong with that, just again, strengths and weaknesses and compare and contrast and that kind of thing. But we're getting sidetracked here. We were talking about Rick Beato. That's how we ended up here. Doing a lot better at the talking than drumming today. So yeah, Bobby Vincent, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate all your support, man. Let's see. Tristan says, no need for rivets when your playing is already riveting. Wow, that was actually very funny. I'm not going to say that my playing is riveting, but that was a funny comment. Let's see. Chris Ozuna on YouTube. Awesome playing, man. I'm a big fan. I'm going to say that's either an organic ride or complex ride. No, it's neither one of those. We said what this was, but again, all the gears in the description. This is not a complex dry ride. Okay, this is my baby. This was given to me, you guys, by a very good friend of mine who, when we were younger, we used to go to Guitar Center on Saturdays and goof around and wank away, we'd call it. Just go wank on the wank kid. This was before the internet, and we would go there and check out cymbals and drum and whatever, and maybe there'd be someone there hanging out. We'd hang out with Marvin Smitty Smith, who would also go to drum stores and hang out, and we would all just hang out. And man, that ride there, I would always come back to it and be like, oh, I love this ride. And one day, my friend Sammy J. Watson, he bought it for me, and I'll never forget. He handed it to me, and he said, keep swinging. And that's one of those moments. And here it is. Everyone always asks about this ride because this fucking ride is awesome. That's why, So yeah, there you go. 20HK Custom Dry Light. Let's see. Who else is saying what? So Moore's talking about West Coast versus East Coast. Let's see. Alan is saying, speaking of West Coast players, do you know or know of Wally Shanali or John Zipolius? Only that's because I'm a Bay Area guy. I know I've heard of John because John put out some instructional stuff before the internet. I recall. Called Lessons with the Greats. He had a collection of stuff, lessons with different guys in a package, and I remember that. But I don't know anything about their playing, and I haven't heard of Wally. Sorry. Let's see. Keith says, is there a specific moment or experience that spurred a creative period in your playing that really stands out? A specific moment or experience that spurred a creative period. Well, I mean, really playing with other, playing with musicians, spurs creativity. Especially if it's the beginning of a new era. Like, oh, I've never played with these guys before, and it was amazing. It's going to be great. I love playing with them. Or if you haven't played for a while, there's a couple of guys that you guys have heard me talk about before, and one was here a few weeks ago, Jeff Miley, and then my other friend John Flickcraft. We play in a trio called Altered. And we've been playing together like off and on for like 20 years or something crazy. And during that time, there's been like extended periods of time where we don't see each other, and then we come back in the room, and it's like, let's see what happens as a result of that break. But we've got that foundation from playing together so much in the past, and so that foundation plus the break, and you get back together, and it's like, whoa, this is like a kind of a new presentation, a new thing of the existing thing. It's like the same ingredients, but like a whole new recipe. It's super cool. So that definitely does it. Or if you're playing with new people for the first time, if you get called for a gig or something, you show up and it's like, oh man, this is really cool. Or maybe it's all lame except for one guy. We've all had that gig where it's like, man, this is really lame, but the bass player's killing. Like, and then you get that guy's number, and then never play with those guys again. That kind of stuff, playing with folks, but also, just rereading the question here, spurred creative period. Yeah, so playing with other people, and then like, certain recordings that are inspirational, or if you want to experiment, playing, drums a certain way because that's how it's played on a recording that you like. And it's a way that you yourself would never have played, but you're like, oh, I want to try like whatever, this spacey thing, or I want to play just driving quarter notes for swing, while stomping quarter notes with my hi-hat, like a Tony Williams thing. There's just so many recordings of Tony, and he kind of changes like how he keeps time like throughout. It's crazy. And so, you trying something that you heard on a recording that you like, and it may not work right away, but it may lead to something else. It's like, oh, I like just the driving quarter notes, but not the thing with the hi-hat. And so I'm going to do that and do my own thing with it. Like, it could lead to other things. And, doing that thing can kind of have like a creative, what was the word that you used? Spurred a creative period. Yeah. But, also like I have to say, Keith, that when I first moved to LA in the early 90s, like 93, and I went to Musicians Institute, or Percussion Institute of Technology at the Musicians Institute, there was some key teachers there, and I was already way into like that era of drumming that was so popular, like the Vinny Weckl, Steve Smith, Dennis Chambers, Steve Gadd, that kind of thing. That was way into that, and still am, But there was a lot of mystery to that style of drumming, and I really wanted to be able to play a lot of that stuff. And there were some teachers there that kind of like, they knew how to play some of that stuff. And it was like, oh, you know how to do the thing from the video, and can you show me that? I have no idea how to do it because, there was a ceiling for me of things I could figure out on my own. The rock stuff I could figure out pretty easily after a while. But like the kind of flowing, busy 16th note triplet-y kind of fusion-y drumming that I like, I could not figure that stuff out on my own. And once I learned a few of those phrases, the dam just came down, and that sparked a whole new era that I guess one could argue we're still in. Yeah, that was a light bulb thing. Like learning one or two licks, like learning the bluzda, learning, a couple of Weckl, 16 note triplet licks, and being like, oh, it's just 16 note triplets in groups of two, but you start with 3 of them. Okay. And then instead of keeping it to like, oh, this is just one lick, it's like, no, it's not a lick. It's not even, it's like an approach. It's like, oh, well, now I can create other chains using that same formula and string it all together. And now you've got the flowing thing going. And that was a great couple of years. I mean, the school was only for 1 year. But yeah, that sparked a lot of a lot of uncovering the mystery of a lot of drumming that I loved, and that was beautiful. It was beautiful. And it was before the internet, literally. I mean, before it was mainstream, and so we couldn't just go to YouTube and be like, how do I play the Steve Smith flam roll thing, like you can do now. And so there's just less of an excuse now to learn stuff and get better. There's really no excuse at this point. Because for better or for worse, I don't want to sound like the old guy that's like, oh, we didn't have this, or, but we really didn't. We didn't have that stuff. We had to, someone had to show us, and so when that happened, it's like, Gary Garbatini was one of the teachers at MI that showed me a bunch of stuff and really, blew the walls down. I mean, Gary was amazing. Is an amazing drummer, There was a student there. I think about this guy once in a while because he showed me a couple things, and I don't know his last name. He was a French guy. His name was Frank or Franck. I think it was pronounced Franck. He was a French guy. He played match grip. He had White Buddy Rich sticks, and he showed me what I now refer to as the 9, the Weckl kind of 16-note triplet-y thing, which starts with 3 notes and then goes into 2 notes. I'll play that really quick. Actually, I was doing it today earlier, and I was having trouble pulling it off. Some days that my foot just doesn't want to do doubles. But here's a quick demonstration of the Weckl 9. It's a great lick. So at the end there, starting to vary it up, right? Adding different combos, keeping the groups of 2 going, but that was one of the licks, to be honest. That was one of the licks that kind of broke the dam for me. So that was the Weckl 9, I call it. Let's see. Montclair. Talking about Montclair. Let's see. Robert Dorr says many great musicians such as Miles Davis and Joni Mitchell painted and produced even more beautiful art. Okay. I recall those artists painting. Let me make sure yeah, okay. Just making sure you guys can still hear me. Oh, Adam Wilson says, "Hey, what's up, Steve? What's up, Adam? How you doing, man? Thanks for hanging out. We're just hanging out and chatting. I'm not playing very well today, so it's more about the chatting. But we should stack some cymbals. You know, I said at the beginning of the stream it might be fun to stack some of these and put my shaky shells on top, because I had tried stacking these before and I didn't have much luck finding a combination that I like. But I think if we stack the right combination and put the shaky shells on top, I think it'll sound cool. So I think we should try that. All right. Let's see. Might want to check out Dysrhythmia featuring the great Gavin Harrison. The approach to Indian music is yeah. Gavin's amazing. I actually had breakfast with Gavin one time. Not to be a name dropper, but he invited me to breakfast. We went to breakfast at the hotel when he was in town. It was great. Such a nice guy. Such a great drummer. I love that his drum sound is always consistent and always amazing. I just love that about him. Let's see, you have the same ride, but the bell is lesser. Altered is a nice recording. Thank you very much. Joe Picaro says, Tristan, yes, Joe Poe was at MI while I was there. Let's see. Another creative approach to pick a piece of music that isn't written for drums. Oh, and see what fits. Yeah, that is interesting, actually. Love hearing the personal experience. Yes, you're welcome, Keith. Curtis says, go bone. Curtis, is that you? I think, Curtis, is that you? Like the Kurt that I know? I think it is, actually. Yeah. Kurt, what's up? If this is the Kurt... Kurt was my roommate at MI, you guys. Kurt and I go way back. The recording customs I have here, a couple of them are from him. Him and I traded drums. Kurt had the recording customs. We were roommates in the 90s. I had 10, 12, 13, 15, and Kurt had the straight up Weckl 8-inch, 10, and whatever, 13, 15. And we traded. I traded him my 13 because he wanted more of a Vinny thing. He wanted like 12, 13, I think. And I got his 8. And Kurt regrets that now because he keeps asking me for the 8 back. That's not happening. Let's see the Weckl 9. Right, left, foot, right, left, foot. Yes, Remy. That is the sticking. And you know what? The double foot, like, I just use double pedal, man. If my single foot can't do it, I just use the double pedal, you know. Let's see. Drum sound so good. Thank you. I'm not happy with the drum sound these days, you guys. I got to be honest. And I don't know if you saw, but on my channel, I released a proper video for the first time in years. I filmed and edited a video on ride cymbal hi-hat combo grooves. And the drum sound on there, it's just not as good as like the way I used to do it, where I would record the drums in Logic, mix it, and then like sync it up to the video after the fact. I recorded the drums using the same stream setup that we have now. And it's me, like, I need to get an engineer in here and help me like engineer, this drum sound with the UAD plugins, because I don't have a lot, I don't have a lot on here, can we share the laptop? Yeah, this is working. All right, there's my stream with delay. This is console. And these are not the levels that you see. These are the levels. All right, the levels are okay. Let me make sure that the laptop mic is still on. Hello? Yes. Okay. Sometimes I switch to the screen sharing thing and the laptop mic turns off. But yeah, like the snare, like we need to get the snare sounding better, folks. I just have EQ. I've got a ton of high end in here. High end. I've got a little compression. Is this the compression? Yeah, this second rack here. Oh, you know what? These don't show up, do they, when I bring up the plugins? Oh, yeah, they do. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is the compression. This is the only thing that's on. None of this other stuff is on. Like, see, this has like EQ and a reflector and delay modulate. Like I don't need any of that. I just put the compressor on here, and then the EQ. We got to get the snare sounding better. And then I think there's room for improvement with like my master. Like everything is going to this auxiliary 1 channel. And this has a really cool mastering plugin. Can you see that? Yes, you can. Okay. This plugin is saving my life, you guys. This really brings it to life. It boosts the whole signal, adds some EQ. But you know what it really is, I think I just need new mics. You know? I just need new mics. These mics are like old, cheap AKG. I'm starting to get the itch for new mics, and I'm wondering if I can get a microphone company to work out a deal with me where I will gladly, you know, sing the praises of microphones that I like. But I only have one overhead, and I have a room mic over there. But you can't, yeah, it's right above that symbol. Anyways, I need new mics, and I need to get an engineer in here to like work with me on this stuff and tweak this sound. So that's next. And it's funny, I befriended on Facebook the engineer of the guy who mixed like my favorite drum sound on a record, one of my favorites. And it's the first Jing Chi recording with Vinny and Jimmy Haslip and Robin Ford. Their first recording, self-titled, with the train song and Going Nowhere and whatever. The Chinese Incident, I think, is the opening track. Anyways, I think the drum sound on there is just about perfect. And I did some digging and found the guy who like recorded and mixed that record, and I befriended him on Facebook. And I don't know his name offhand, but I thought about like hiring him literally to come here and like dial in the drum sound, because you can do that kind of stuff nowadays, and I think that's super cool. I should really do that. So let's stack some cymbals. I think we're going to start with the Trash Former, the 10-inch cracked Trash Former, and the Oriental 11. I mean, maybe something like this, you know, and we'll put the shaky shells on top, you know. I think that'll be fun. Let's give it a try. Let's see, you and Louis Palmer should do a video together. Yes, I agree. I've sometimes fantasized about writing a drum duet piece and doing a thing with Louis. Louis's great. We've been playing phone tag lately, and we've been meaning to like get together, but you know, our schedules haven't accommodated that. Let's see. Let's do this. So currently this is a 13 top and 12 bottom. But I thought this would be fun, you know? This is the kind of thing I would be interested in if I was watching a drum stream. So maybe the big one on the bottom. And maybe we don't even need this hi-hat clip, or I'll put both of them on the hi-hat clip. Let's try that. All right? Yeah, that'll work. We'll put both of them on the hi-hat clip. And maybe that'll work. We'll put the shaky shells on top. Ooh. This is the shaky shells. See, I'm afraid like the shaky shells they're not very loud, you know? So let's turn on the mic and see what it sounds like. I won't be able to hear this because I can't play the drums like back through the speakers, so you guys are going to have to tell me how this sounds. All right, how did that sound? Shaky shells. Oh, you guys are funny. Let's see. AKG is pretty good. You're talking about bring the. I need that 8-inch tom back. Says Kurt. That's so funny. Let's see. What are you saying about the? Let's see. Put your room mic in the corner, and I'll have the earthwork. Freaking baby bottle. Let's see. I mentioned Beck and Weckl. I want to throw your thoughts. Oh, Alan. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. Beck and Weckl, maybe. Let's see. Tough to beat. Shaky shells is the technical. Oh, the stack sounds really good. All right, here we go. The 10 sounds fantastic. Oh, this 10. Yes, thank you. Yeah, sounds great, says Alan. Okay, cool. This is what I'm looking for. The shaky shells make it better for sure. Okay, sounded quiet, but not bad for an effect cymbal. Yeah, it's not mic'd, so awesome. What do you mean you don't sound good today? Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the stream, I was. I never got out of like third gear. Maybe I got in fifth, like maybe once or twice. But it doesn't always have to be like this big grandiose thing. Okay, so this sounds good. What else can we? Maybe we'll just leave it. I don't know. I mean, if it was cutting a little more, like maybe if we had something bigger on the bottom of it. Like I've got this 12-inch splash. Maybe if this was on the bottom, it might actually bring the volume up on the whole thing. Let's see. I think the cracked trash former on top is key. I'm going to leave that, and then we'll do the splash on the bottom. So this was on the bottom before, and we like this. And now we're replacing it with a 12-inch splash, which is 1 inch bigger. Oh, and thicker, too. This clip may not... Okay, here we go. All right, so 12-inch... Yeah, I can already tell this is not going to... It's not going to have as much, like... I don't know, nastiness. This is going to be, like, cleaner, I think. I need to loosen the hi-hat thing. Yeah, I could tell it's like it's going to be staccato because it's like it's tighter, you know? Let's see. I think the other one was better. Wife text. Wife text needs a response. Yeah, I think the other one was better. What do you guys think? Let's see, guys. Why no China? This tech sounds pretty smooth for a sec. Yeah, the other one was better. It's hard to get into third gear and from home. Steve doesn't like China's because they're too harsh. He prefers the... Yeah, it's true. I've got a 19-inch K China. It's just the Chinas they're just so limited in their scope, I think, you know. I like trashier cymbals that I can use for the same purpose as a China, but I can also use it for other things. Let's see. Put the little one on the bottom. It sounds smaller. Yeah, it does sound smaller. Not as trashy as the first version. How many overheads do you? I only have one overhead, so this is part of the thing. Just stack all of your extra cymbals together and see what it sounds like. Yeah, it's too choked. I agree, Keith. But part of that is because sorry, the hi-hat clip was just like it's this cymbal is thicker, and so the clip is like it's keeping the cymbals closer together. So if I loosen it a little bit, it won't be a staccato, but I still don't think it's going to sound as good as the first one. Okay, so I loosened it. Yeah, the other one was better, right? It's better loose. These two are better loose, but I don't think it's as good as the first combo. Unless, I don't know. What do you guys think? Yes, okay. All right, so we're sticking with the trash former on the top. And this Oriental on the bottom. I think we're just going to go with this. I don't have anything else that's going to sound that much different. I mean, they're all splashes, or I have a hi-hat bottom. Maybe we should try the hi-hat bottom. Oh, what is this? Oh, okay. Yeah, see, this is why I had this on here. This is a really thick A-Custom Master Sound bottom. It's very heavy. And so it cuts. That's the reason why I had it on there to begin with. So maybe the heavy hi-hat bottom with the trash former top with the shaky shells. All right, we'll give it a chance. But see, because it's so much bigger, we can maybe do a this kind of thing. No, it's not going to work. I can already tell it's not going to work. Maybe like that. All right, let's try it like this, like stacked. All right. So we'll move up the top part of the hi-hat clip to give it some more room. Some more room so it won't be so tight, you know? Because, I mean, as we've seen, it's all about, like, keeping it loose for that, like, kind of trashier, longer note. No, that's not going to work. Whatever. Let's give it a try. Yeah. Shaky shells. Shaky shells. Well, that was surprising. That actually sounded a lot better. Definitely sounded better than the second stack, but did it sound better than the first? Is the question. Did it sound better than that initial trash former? Let's see. Yeah, folks are digging it. Big smoky sounding cymbals. That's true. That's just not the sound that I'm into these days. That's one of the things that Louis got going really cool. He's got like his cymbals are big and kind of washy and smoky, I guess, as you said. Yeah, I'm not into that at this time, but he's obviously into it. He's got it going really cool. Got that 12-inch. If you could get some kind of unique kick sound, you saw yourself more body to that sound. I know it's asking. I want the ride cymbal sounds like that one. I can't remember that. Yeah, so it's between this and this is probably louder actually than this. I don't even have to switch. Like I know. Yeah. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with that. Actually. We did it. We picked a thing. See, it's fun. It's like changing it up. It makes, forces you to play different, like it forces you to come up with phrases that'll like kind of capitalize on that, and really I'm just going to play the same crap I always play, but just occasionally hit that. And it'll sound like, oh, dude, you got this new sound. It's like, do I? I kind of don't. Meet the new sound. Same as the old sound, right? That's funny. Hey, it's Rita Brooks. Rita, I recall seeing your comments on so many of my videos over the years. I appreciate the support. Bobby, what are you saying? You like the 12-inch tom? Should be louder. Yes, I agree. See, I'm going back. Yeah, people dig this one. Actually sounds pretty good. I wasn't expecting this one to sound good. That was great. See, this is why it's good to like, okay, let's give it a try, because you never know. And that totally worked this time. If you could get some kind of unique kick sound, you'd set yourself apart. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of like the sound of my kick, but there's room for improvement. I maybe go for more open thing, But, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I'd prefer like a more shorter, fatter sound than like a more boomier sound at this point. But I want that ride cymbal. Sounds like the one that Weckl used to play with in the mid-'80s. Everyone back then was using just K Customs. Like 20-inch K Custom. And I never had one of those. I've always wanted to try one for that like vintage sound. But I don't know, I think that kind of cymbal would actually sound dated. That's the beauty of this. It kind of has a little bit of that, but not, but it's not as dry, This cymbal is so versatile. I've used this on so many different gigs of so many different styles, this cymbal, over the years. It actually has the little indent. The whole of the cymbal has the little indent from it sitting on the stand for years, So, first and third sounded good. The first was smoother. The third was trashier, says Jeffrey Lang. Thank you, Jeffrey. Interesting. I feel like this one's a little louder, though. Are there parallels between game development and drumming, says Eric Chang. Geez. Are there parallels? There are some. I recall over the years noticing that during like game development. For those that don't know, I'm a video game designer at Infinity Ward. Currently we make Call of Duty games, Modern Warfare 2. And I'm a campaign designer. I script gameplay things that happen in the campaign of the game. But yeah, there's some parallels in terms of the creative process and working with people. No matter what your profession is, you got to work with people, and that is a skill. Man, working with people is a skill. You can be good at it, you can be bad at it, but regardless, like the better you are, the better you're going to do at your job, and that's a good lesson. The earlier you learn that, the better. Let's see. We did it, everybody. We picked the thing. Says Adam. Yes. Let's see. Chinas are hard indeed. I used to have an 18-inch A custom China. Ugh. Yeah, that does not sound like. Yeah, that sounds I mean, if you dug it, man. I mean, I have a 19-inch K China. That's the China that I love. I mean, I'll get it out. I'll show it to you, the China. It sounds great. You know, I like less boom. Let's see, working with people. Yep, it is. Game developers must be... game developers must be a handful. I suppose. There's all kinds of... That's the thing is there's all kinds of... you know, job types depending upon how big the studio is that you work at. You know, there's designers and, you know, people that build things and people that write code, and there's artists that create, you know, all the game assets. You know, there's the guy who makes the barrel. There's the guy who creates the material that goes on the barrel that make it look like it's wood. You know, there's the person that places the lights, you know, in the level. There's just so many. And it's awesome. It's great. It's like making a movie. It's like everyone together. They have one goal, one project. Everyone wants it to be awesome. You all work together to make it awesome. It takes years. And slowly over time, you shepherd this thing that is not something you sit and watch, but something that you interact with. And that's really cool. And in order to create a fun, interactive experience, you have to kind of have a sense of what people will think and what will attract them and what will repel them and what will cause them to think that they're being smart, and that whole thing. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the person at home with the controller playing the thing and being like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, you got to create that experience from scratch. It's a thing, you know. It's a thing. It's super interesting, super fun, and I'm super lucky to be doing it as long as I've been doing it. You know, I started testing. I started as a game tester. I just walked in and filled out an application in 2001. And now I make Call of Duty 20 years later, 21 years later. So yeah, that's awesome. But the whole time I never stopped practicing because I never stopped wanting to be a drummer. I never stopped wanting to perform. I never stopped wanting to just drum and be a part of that whole thing, you know. Favorite video games of all time, man. Whew, there's so many different eras of games over the years, you know. When I was little, you know, we'd go play arcade games, and then all the video game consoles growing up that a lot of us have played, you know, the first Nintendo, you know, and Super Nintendo, and then Nintendo 64, and then PC gaming got really big, and each one of those platforms has their own, like, important, significant games of those eras, you know. So yeah, Xbox 360, you know, over the last 15, 20 years, you know, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 now, you know, like, it's crazy. I was an Xbox person for a long time, but then I switched to Sony. I like the PlayStation stuff. The Resident Evil 4 remake just came out. I'm looking forward to playing that. Inside, there's a game called Inside. That you can play on every platform. If you have an iPhone, you can play Inside. You play on an iPad, PC, whatever, like literally any platform. Just if you haven't played Inside, play it. It's like, it's the perfect, like, game of that genre. And the reason is because there's no text and there's no VO. And you got to figure out what to do and have fun. And that's crazy. Inside is amazing. I love that game. Let's see. Marco says, love you, Steve. You are my inspiration for 20 years. Thanks. Hugs from Italy. Marco, I appreciate it, man. Hugs right back to you over in Italy. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you've enjoyed the footage over the last 20 years, man. Spread the word. Subscribe to the channel. You know, let's keep it going. Let's see. Tim on Facebook. What's up, Tim? Sounding awesome, brother. I had the chuckles today. There's so many drummers out there giving suggestions on beats and fills. Sometimes I start to review and learn a few here and there. Ultimately, I think to myself, what am I really going to use it for? So much stuff out there, which is great. I suppose I learn what's going to help me. Just rambling. Yes, that was an impressive ramble, Tim, and now I have rambled as a result of reading your ramble. Yeah, that's true, though. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's so much stuff out there. And knowing what, I mean, it shouldn't be hard, actually. Like, you watch a thing. That's my process. Like, the first thing I'm like, okay, do I want to be the person that plays that? Or, oh, that sounds cool. I want to be the person that plays that. You know, that's really the thing. There's a lot of guys out there that are amazing, but they're playing stuff that I don't want to be the person playing that, you know? The stuff I like, You know, I want to be the guy playing that stuff. You know, the guys that I dig. You know, Dave DeCenzo. I never got sick of his drumming. You know, there's a young guy on Instagram, John Scott or Jay Scott. Jay Scott drummer he's got that flowing thing that I love. Although he switched to Meinl recently from Zildjian, and I just never understand that. The cymbal sounds so much worse now. Sorry, Jay Scott. What was I gonna say? Alexander Marenko. You guys, if you haven't checked out Alexander Marenko, check him out. ALEKSANDR. Alexander Marenko. He's really been inspiring me lately. Let's see. Dream job. Yeah, I mean, making video games and playing drums, it's not bad. Let's see. My buddy Malcolm Kirby Jr. makes a lot of video game music. He lives in Japan these days. Saints Row series, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of composers out there that are making music for games. Actually, video game music itself is becoming a thing. Adam Neely on YouTube did a great video on that recently. If you're not hip to Adam Neely, check him out on YouTube. He's kind of like, he's another one of these guys like Rick Beato that just does some great video essays on music. And he did one on video game music because he did all these gigs playing these conventions in a band that only plays video game music. And he's talking about how like that music is kind of becoming like what will be like standards in the future, you know? And he talked about how some standards now are, you know, like where did they come? Like where did all the things you are come from? You know, like it was a show tune or something like that. And like the bizarre history of what we call standards now and how music that's popular now will end up being standards in the future. And that stuff is fascinating, you know? Yeah, that dude's killer. All right. So I'm going to play a little bit more. I'm going to mess around with, you know, the new stack. And then we're going to call it. Okay. So yeah, let's do a little bit more playing and see how the stack sounds. Okay. All right, let's play drums. Man, my double bass. Ooh, crap. Crap. All right. We did it. We found a new stack. We're playing with it, coming up with different ideas. I'll practice. I'll work on it, okay? I apologize. Ooh, but we got to wrap it up here. Thanks for hanging out. See, it's not supposed to do that. I turned that off. Turn off, please. Scene switcher. My name's Steve Holmes. This has been fun. I'm glad we got to do one of these this weekend. I wasn't sure if I was going to, but that's kind of always the case. That's kind of always the case. What do you think about Italian drummers? Man, they're all awesome. How's that? Good drummers are good drummers regardless of where they're from. Let's see. Thanks for the hang. My girlfriend is stacked. We'll just leave that one alone. See, I feel accomplished for contributing to the stack decision. You should, Adam Wilson. It's an important decision. You definitely contributed. All right. But now that you've heard it some more, like, I don't know, are we sticking by this decision? Do we want to go with number one, which was with the Oriental? I think this is the one, actually. We'll see. We'll see. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out. My name is Steve Holmes. Go to the channel. Check out other videos. If you want to support the channel, you can leave a thanks on YouTube. There's different ways to donate. So I appreciate all the support. And yeah, we'll keep making the videos. We'll keep doing this. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Later.